The Gruen Effect, the billion-dollar supermarket trap. Try to recall the last time you walked through the automatic sliding glass doors of a major supermarket or a glamorous shopping mall on a weekend. You were holding your phone, and in your hand, perhaps, was a small scrap of paper with 3 items written down for dinner: a carton of fresh milk, a carton of eggs, and a bottle of soy sauce. You told yourself, "This will only take me exactly 5 minutes. I'll grab these 3 things and head straight home." You walked in with absolute confidence in your own rationality. Yet an hour and a half later, you found yourself standing at the checkout counter. Your hands didn't just hold milk and eggs, your shopping cart was piled high with boxes of chocolate chip cookies on a buy 2 get 1 free promo, a set of sparkling glass tumblers even though you have plenty of unused ones at home, 3 family-sized bags of potato chips, and a plush accent pillow you casually picked up in some random aisle. Your wallet was lighter by tens or even hundreds of dollars. You looked down at your cart, felt a wave of dizziness, and blamed yourself. Why was I so wasteful today? Why do I have so little self-control? Today, I am standing here to tell you a harsh but incredibly liberating truth. It is not your fault. You do not lack willpower, nor are you a recklessly irresponsible spender. The truth is, the very moment you stepped through those automatic glass doors, you entered a psychological warfare zone, meticulously engineered by some of the most brilliant minds on the planet. And you had lost the game before you even laid a hand on the shopping cart. What you just experienced was not an accident. It is the result of a billion-dollar behavioral and architectural trap known as the Gruen Effect. A supermarket is not a store displaying products, it is a matrix programmed to strip away your rational brakes. In this recording, we will strip back every layer of this invisible labyrinth, exposing exactly how retail giants program your every step and manipulate your thoughts for one ultimate purpose: to legally pick your pocket and make you willingly hand over your hard-earned cash. And most importantly, once you understand the game, I will equip your brain to fight back on equal terms. The origin of the money matrix. To understand the essence of the Gruen Effect, we have to travel back in time to the 1950s in America and meet a man named Victor Gruen. He was a genius Austrian architect of Jewish descent. When he immigrated to the United States, Gruen observed a tragic reality of the era. The rapid wave of urbanization had pushed millions of Americans out into distant, isolated suburbs. These suburbs consisted nothing but identical houses and endless stretches of asphalt roads, completely lacking any public space. The residents here lived incredibly lonely, cold lives, with nowhere to socialize or meet up after work. With the heart of a humanistic architect, Victor Gruen came up with a grand idea. He wanted to design a space that could recreate the warm atmosphere of ancient European plazas, a place where people could gather and stroll regardless of the harsh weather outside. And in 1956, in the state of Minnesota, he brought to life Southdale Center, the very first fully enclosed indoor shopping mall in human history. In Victor Gruen's original vision, this space was breathtakingly beautiful. It featured a massive skylight flooding the area with natural sun, a trickling fountain at its center, indoor sidewalk cafes, publicly displayed works of art, and even a semi-wild aviary. He wanted people to come here to connect and elevate their spiritual well-being. Shopping was supposed to be a mere byproduct. However, a tragic historical twist occurred. When retail tycoons and corporate capitalists looked at Victor Gruen's model, they didn't see human value. What they saw was an unprecedented gold mine. They discovered a bizarre psychological phenomenon. The moment a person stepped into the enclosed, highly comfortable, dazzling, and convenient space of Southdale Center, they instantly fell into a state of mild disorientation. They forgot about time, they forgot about their worries outside, and began to shop frantically. Sales for the stores inside skyrocketed exponentially compared to traditional street-front shops. Instantly, the tycoons hijacked Gruen's idea. They stripped away all the free community spaces like the aviary and art exhibits and replaced them with dense commercial kiosks. They optimized every single square inch to turn his design into the ultimate behavioral manipulation tool. The Gruen Effect was officially born, not to serve humanity, but to turn humans into slaves of consumerism. Late in his life, witnessing shopping malls popping up like mushrooms around the globe and turning into ruthless cash extraction machines, Gruen was deeply devastated. He publicly disowned his brainchild, bitterly declaring to the media, "I refuse to pay alimony for those bastard developments. They have destroyed our cities. They have betrayed my entire life's work." But the old architect's warning was drowned out by the clinking of cash registers. The Gruen machine was up and running, and it has never stopped. The biological and evolutionary mechanism. To understand why the Gruen effect possesses such an omnipotent power, capable of defeating even the coldest, most rational minds, we cannot look at standard discount marketing tricks. We must dive deep into the operational mechanics of the human brain and our evolutionary history. 1. The autopilot mechanism and cognitive depletion. You need to know a critical biological metric. The human brain accounts for only about 2% of our body weight, yet it consumes up to 20% of our total daily energy intake. In nature's eyes, the brain is an incredibly gas-guzzling organ. Therefore, to survive through millions of years of food scarcity, the brain developed a brilliant defense mechanism. It always seeks to conserve maximum energy by shifting familiar behaviors into an autopilot mode, making it naturally lazy when it comes to logical thinking. The prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for critical thinking, calculating costs, and suppressing impulses, is the most energy-expensive zone. It only fires up heavily when absolutely necessary. When you walk into a supermarket designed around the Gruen effect, the architects have intentionally scripted a sensory bombardment. Tens of thousands of colorful product labels, hundreds of red and yellow slash-mark discount signs, harsh neon lights reflecting off the glossy floors, and a background music playlist that constantly shifts its tempo. All of these stimuli force your prefrontal cortex to run at maximum capacity just to process the data. After only 20 to 30 minutes of navigating this space, your brain plummets into a state called decision fatigue or cognitive depletion. It simply runs out of gas. To protect itself, the prefrontal cortex officially shuts off the power and hands control over to the limbic system, the brain's emotional and intuitive hub. At this precise moment, your wallet's defense system collapses. You no longer possess the biological stamina to think, what was the original price of this item? Do I really need it? You make your buying decisions entirely based on emotion and instinct. You buy it because in that moment, you no longer have the energy to say no. 2. The hunter-gatherer instinct in the modern jungle. Look in the mirror. We modern humans are actually ancient creatures wearing trendy clothes using credit cards at supermarkets. In 99% of evolutionary history, our ancestors didn't live in high-rises. They lived in dense jungles and open savannas, surviving as hunters and gatherers. In that wild environment, food sources were incredibly scarce. If a prehistoric human was foraging and stumbled upon a bush bursting with sweet, ripe berries, the biological instinct written into their DNA would instantly scream, "Pick them now! Eat them now! Gather everything you can fit into your cave and bring it back, because if you don't pick them, a storm will knock them down tomorrow, or another tribe will steal them." This hoarding mentality and the fear of missing out, or FOMO, were the absolute keys to human survival in the ancient world.
Modern supermarkets are perfectly modernized primordial jungles. When they hide essential items like rice, milk, and eggs deep in the back, they are forcing you to embark on a gathering safari through bushes filled with pastries, chocolates, and gleaming homeware. Along that route, the moment you spot a sign reading 30% off today only, your inner prehistoric gatherer instinct awakens. You panic that if you don't grab this item now, the opportunity will vanish tomorrow. You think you're a savvy consumer hunting down a bargain, but in reality, you are just an ancient creature pitifully executing an outdated genetic code inside a computer-engineered matrix. 7 coercive architectural tactics exposed. Now, let's take a magnifying glass and look straight at the floor layout blueprints of supermarkets. Together, we will expose the 7 tactics of coercive architecture programmed to control your every footstep. Tactic 1: the decompression zone. Have you ever wondered why the first 15 to 30 feet right inside a supermarket entrance is always wide, spacious, and practically devoid of major merchandise? In the retail industry, this is called the decompression zone. When you come in from the main road or the parking lot, your body carries a fast, stressed, and alert biological rhythm. If the supermarket displayed goods right at the doorstep, your brain would reject the information because it hasn't had time to adjust. The decompression zone is engineered to break that rhythm. Here, they blast you with a wave of cool air-conditioned wind, play soft music, and arrange vibrant displays of fresh flowers or the aroma of baking bread. These scents go straight to the brain's limbic system, triggering memory and emotion, sending a soothing signal: you have escaped the noisy world outside. You are in a safe, cool place packed with food and drink. Drop your defenses, slow down, and enjoy. Remember this golden rule of retail: until you slow down, the supermarket cannot sell to you.
Tactic 2: the Staples Matrix and the 70% area rule. Ask yourself, why are fresh milk, eggs, meat, and rice, the things every family needs every single day, always located at the furthest opposing wall from the entrance or tucked into the deepest corner of the top floor? Why don't they put them near the door for a quick, convenient pickup? The answer lies in a classic retail axiom: the longer the customer's transit route, the higher the rate of impulse buying. To get your hands on a $2 carton of milk, you are forced to march a military campaign through dozens of aisles filled with non-essential items. Statistics show that if architects succeed in forcing a customer to walk through 70% of the supermarket's total floor area, sales of unplanned items skyrocket by up to 50%. You think you went in for milk, but the supermarket has turned you into a weaving shuttle, flying back and forth through their loom of merchandise. Tactic 3: curved pathways and vision-blocking end caps. If you pay close attention, aisles in major malls or modern supermarkets are never designed completely straight and unobstructed from start to finish like city streets. They are always designed to be slightly curved, winding, or constantly disrupted and blocked by massive displays or island shelves located at the ends of aisles, known in the industry as end caps. Why? In architecture, a straight path prompts a human to walk faster to reach the destination. Their eyes look straight ahead. But the supermarket does not want you reaching the finish line early. When a path curves or is blocked by an end cap, your line of sight is broken. Your brain is forced to signal a brief pause to recalibrate your direction. And in those brief seconds when your footsteps slow down to turn, your eyes, by natural reflex, must glance left and right. And guess what you see? You see eye-catching items displayed on the end cap with bright red letters: new arrivals, special promotion. You have been subtly barricaded just to force your eyes onto the merchandise. Tactic 4: the casino node, where time stands still. Here is a real-world experiment you can do yourself.
Try walking through the main floor of a major supermarket and look for a wall clock displaying the time or a transparent glass window looking outside. You will almost never find one. Major supermarkets apply the exact architectural strategy of Las Vegas casinos, the uncontextualized and timeless mode. They utilize completely uniform artificial lighting at all hours of the day within a totally enclosed space. The objective? They want to completely sever the biological connection between you and the real-time world outside. You entered the supermarket while it was sunny, but inside you have no clue if it has started raining, or if it is 5 p.m. or already 7 p.m. When you lose the concept of time, your behavioral flow and life pace are completely manipulated by the space designer. You will wander, drifting aimlessly from aisle to aisle without any sense of urgency. And when your time stops, that's when your wallet is drained the most. Tactic 6. The giant shopping cart. Have you noticed that supermarket shopping carts are getting bigger and bigger? Marketing history research shows that the size of shopping carts at major retail chains has nearly doubled since the 1970s. This is a highly subtle psychological strike based on visual perception and a sense of scarcity. When you push a cavernous cart into a supermarket and have only dropped in a carton of eggs and a bottle of milk, your brain looks at the vast empty space remaining and automatically triggers a subconscious feeling of unease and emptiness. It creates an invisible psychological pressure, urging you, "I haven't bought enough. Look how empty the cart is." Consequently, you tend to pick up extra items just to fill the void, seeking a sense of visual satisfaction.
Tactic 7. The checkout trap. The battle for the final square inch. The checkout lane is the final checkpoint before you leave the supermarket. Observe the design of this area. The pathways are incredibly narrow, precisely wide enough for a single shopping cart to pass through, with no escape routes to the sides, and the waiting lines are often notoriously long, especially during peak hours. Why doesn't a multi-billion-dollar supermarket open dozens of extra registers so customers can check out rapidly and leave? Because they don't want you leaving quickly. The checkout line is the highest-yielding gold mine per square inch in the entire store. By this point, after a grueling journey battling the Gruen labyrinth, your brain is in total decision fatigue. Your defensive willpower is at absolute zero. As you stand pinned to one spot for 5 to 10 minutes waiting to pay, your eyes, with nothing else to do, scan the miniature shelves flanking the register. What is displayed there? Chewing gum, chocolate bars, lighters, batteries, lip balm. These are low-cost impulse items, making your mind drop its guard. Oh, it's just $1. I'll grab a pack of gum. Reaching out to grab these items happens like an unconditioned natural reflex. It is the final net, vacuuming up the last remaining pocket change from your wallet. The 3 critical mistakes and your 4 psychological counterweapons. Most of us enter a supermarket overly confident in our rationality, and that is precisely why we repeatedly fail. Let's pinpoint the 3 classic mistakes everyone makes. Mistake 1. You think the supermarket just arranges things beautifully and neatly, so I buy what I like. The debunking. Beauty is just the mask. The core essence here is coercive architecture. You don't buy because the item is spectacular. You buy because you have been reduced to a state of mental exhaustion after being led in circles through a matrix, causing your wallet's defense mechanisms to entirely collapse. Mistake 2. You think, as long as I bring a strict shopping list detailing exactly what I need, I will never get tricked. The debunking. A shopping list only works if you find the item instantly. The Gruen Effect exists to shatter that list. By periodically rearranging aisle locations, supermarkets force you to search, and while you are wandering around looking for that item on your list, you are forced into visual collisions with hundreds of other tempting items. Mistake 3. You view the Gruen Effect as just a petty short-term scam.
The debunking. No, this is a serious and monumental field of behavioral science, studied by the world's leading neuropsychologists. If you continue to underestimate it, you will continue to be a compliant sheep, willingly shearing your own wool for them. So how do we step into a supermarket as a master of our choices rather than a victim? Equip yourself immediately with these 4 psychological counterweapons. Weapon 1. The immediate left turn strategy. The science. Behavioral research indicates that over 90% of people are right-handed. By natural biological reflex, when entering a new space, humans tend to turn right and look toward the right side first. Knowing this inside out, supermarkets always place their most expensive, highest-margin merchandise to the right of the entrance. The counterattack. The next time, the second you cross the decompression zone, consciously take control. Steer your cart hard left immediately, or walk straight to the back row of the store first. You will reach the basic, wholesale-priced staples before your brain is overstimulated and exhausted by the high-priced bait on the right. Weapon 2. Put on headphones and blast high BPM music. The science. Supermarket music is a speed control tool. They play slow, ambient tracks to lower your heart rate, synchronizing with your footsteps to make you walk slower. Walking slower means staying longer. Staying longer means buying more. The counterattack. Before crossing the supermarket threshold, pop in your earbuds and blast a playlist with a fast, driving tempo, like rock, EDM, or high-energy dance music. The powerful rhythm will subconsciously drive up your heart rate and accelerate your pace. You will move like an arrow, dash straight to the item you need, grab it, and head to the checkout before the Gruen Effect has a chance to drain your brain. Weapon 3. The look up high, bend down low rule. The science. As we established, supermarkets hide cheap items near the floor or up high, placing expensive goods at dead center eye level. The counterattack. When standing in front of any shelf display, completely ignore the eye-level zone. Perform a physical exercise. Bend low to scan the bottom shelf or look up high to examine the top shelf. That is where you will find products with larger volumes, cheaper unit costs, and identical quality that don't carry the burden of heavy marketing budgets. Remember, eye level is buy level. Look high and low to save your dough. Weapon 4. Swap the shopping cart for a handheld basket. The counterattack. If your goal today is just to grab a few basic ingredients for dinner, absolutely do not touch that giant shopping cart. Select a small handheld basket instead. The physical weight of the basket bearing down on your arm muscles over time acts as a highly effective biological brake. It continuously reminds your nervous system, the basket is heavy, my arm is tired, I've bought enough, time to go home. You will never pick up random junk items when your arm is literally screaming from fatigue.
Epilogue: The Matrix Digital Shift. The terrifying thing is that the Gruen Effect no longer exists solely within the brick-and-mortar walls of physical supermarkets. In today's tech era, e-commerce giants and digital marketers have seamlessly and sophisticatedly migrated this entire matrix onto the digital environment. When you scroll through a landing page, an e-commerce website, or watch short-form videos on TikTok or Facebook, if you are a business owner or a content creator, you can absolutely learn from this elite psychological framework to retain your audience. First, create a digital decompression zone. When a user clicks on your video or website, they bring a massive defensive barrier against advertising. They are terrified of being scammed. They are terrified of losing money. Do not aggressively pitch a buy now button or introduce product pricing in the first 5 seconds. Instead, create a relaxing, empathetic space by telling a story that hits their exact pain points, or ask a question that forces reflection. When they feel you are speaking for them, their defensive ego drops, they slow down, and they become ready to listen.
Second, design an information gap experience. Do not reveal everything up front. Guide the viewer through a calculated, intentional, logical narrative path. Present a problem, stimulate their curiosity, and force them to scroll down or watch into the next minute to find the answer. The process of them scrolling and immersing themselves in your content is the exact behavioral equivalent of them wandering through a digital architectural labyrinth you pre-programmed. My friends, the Gruen Effect at the end of the day is not some dark voodoo magic. It is the pinnacle convergence of three scientific disciplines: spatial architecture, behavioral psychology, and retail economics. Your brain is not weak. It has simply been fighting a solo battle against a multi-billion-dollar matrix engineered by the sharpest minds on Earth specifically to exploit your evolutionary programming. But today, after listening to this recording, you are armed. You see through their entire game. Next time you step into a supermarket and feel that slight wave of dizziness facing thousands of gleaming products, stop for a single second, flash a confident smile, and tell yourself, "I see exactly what you're doing." Put your headphones on, track your music up, turn left, look low, grab what you actually need, and march proudly straight to the checkout. You are no longer a sheep being led through a maze. You are the master of your steps, the master of the game, and the absolute master of your own wallet. Thank you for listening. Share this secret with your loved ones so you can protect your family's hard-earned money together. Goodbye, and see you in our next psychological breakdown journey.